What up?
Here we are, and welcome to Tavern Talk,
Hello.
a spoiler-filled show based on the epic fantasy series Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. Joining me, as always, is my lovely brother Dan, with moves to pay the bills. Beth Doman from I Do Be Doman YouTube channel, Flesh Tom from Dragonmount, and actor extraordinaire Jansen Lashley Haynes. Yay!
What up, guys?
All right.
Ryan, when I'm dancing serious, I look at the ground. I don't even look at my phone.
You're like an emo dancer. That's how emos dance, Dan.
We need to play some 9 Inch Nails right now.
Oh, copyright.
Let's just go for it, right? Oh, I mean, I'm not saying we're going to. I'm just saying, like,
everyone at home, put on your 9 Inch Nails. Doesn't she? Isn't she?
Look at that lovely new do she's got.
Yes, I got my hair.
Yeah, your hair is amazing.
Yesterday. Thank you. Thank you.
Elf Witch is here.
What?
Witch in the house.
That's why we're 2 minutes late.
All right, why are we here? Not an easy question to answer. Individually, we could all spend probably 10 minutes explaining why we're here. But collectively, we're here to talk about the Age of Legends, but not specifically what would life feel like in the Age of Legends. Imagine you're waking up, you want to pour some calf, you got to go to your job. We're going to talk about what it would be like to live in the Age of Legends, and I'm so excited to have this conversation. Everyone, if you're at home, tell your neighbor, go to your neighbor's house, knock on the door, tell them to watch the stream. If you have children accounts, just log in, put the stream on, just put it on mute. Everyone should have at least 3 streams going, 2 of them on mute, 1 not on mute. And we're going to hear from you throughout chat. We love you all. We are here for it. Let's start the conversation off.
Ryan,
yes.
Let's get 3 polls in tonight. I was watching the Dusty Wheel earlier. He was polling. Man, every 2 minutes there was a new poll. So I was
I feel
success.
I'm down for the challenge.
All right, at least
Maybe
3 polls.
Tom can manage polls. Maybe Tom.
Tom is notoriously good at polls.
Oh, you know.
I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Maybe Tom can be the poller.
If you ever get in the dark web, you know that Tom really is great with polls.
Oh yeah.
Favorite movie is,
okay, are we talking POLE or POLL? Or
yes.
both?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
The answer to your question is yes. Can you just rename my title to Poll Manager?
Poll manager.
Love it. Love it.
On it. Jansen, it's good to see you. As always, we are going to be only talking about the books. There's nothing but the books in this show.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
The whole books, and nothing but the books is what we are getting into.
All the books. Every book.
I know that it is hot this week. I know that people are still picketing every day. I think we're there Wednesday, you said? But anyways, this stuff, it's still going on, guys. It's still going on.
Well, Beth is hanging out in Cold Rock's hold with no cold rocks. So,
oh, yeah. All right, Beth, explain.
I'm here in North Texas, and we're like day 10 of 105 degree plus weather, and I am as close to sweat tent material as I can get, and still not get us censored on YouTube.
You know, it's just creating a perfect glow. You're glistening like a 9-month pregnant woman.
That's makeup.
Just don't stand on
That's just makeup.
When you figure out how to not sweat, can you pass that along to us?
No, because I sweat profusely. You guys just don't see it.
I'm a sweat hog too.
So
sweat monsters.
Yeah, it's just been it's so hot, and it's like every day the weather report, the app, like keeps extending out the high temperature. Like, you know, a week ago it was like in a week it's going to be in the 90s, and now it's like in 10 days it's still going to be 105. So it's like dog days of summer. It's just
and then you got to take into account the fucking heat index and stuff, which apparently
the heat index is like 113. It's 107 and the heat index is 113.
Did you know that this is like a controversial topic now?
What, heat?
No. The heat index.
Oh. Is that? Oh no! Is that?
There's a certain group of people that think it's an agenda that was made up by a certain group of people and it doesn't exist.
Yep.
Oh, that's great.
Well,
oh my God!
It's the opposite of wind chill. It's basically the summer's version of wind chill. It takes into consideration the temperature and the humidity and the dew pressure.
All right.
Point,
I think.
Anyway, moving on.
I think I could guess who in our chat believes the heat index is a government ploy.
An agenda.
Okay, Gnome and Garden lives like in my area.
Oh.
No, Gnome and Garden, you're.
God.
Are you bathing in ice?
I love Gnome Garden.
Have you buried holes in the ground to keep cool?
Dude, we got to make sure Gnome Garden is okay.
What?
Jesus,
Bro?
no.
That's life threatening.
I am so sorry because
That's terrible.
I was complaining beforehand that my AC is cooling
please
my house down
respond.
to
We're
81
worried.
degrees.
We think if he's not just constantly chatting one a minute, we're all going to think he's passed out and needs medical attention. So you got to keep going, Gnome.
Yeah, every 2 minutes you got to check in with us. Buddy.
I have an extra AC in my garage right now. How can I get it to you?
What? For reals, Gnome Garden, Discord.
I have it in my garage right now. How can I get it to you, Gnome Garden?
Oh yeah. In Discord, DM us and we'll figure this out. He is for real. We would love to help out. That's crazy. No, we all got to take this seriously. We have, we're getting dangerously close to just like the temperatures that humans are not able to manage in. And
Hottest month ever recorded.
Yeah.
And wasn't last year the hottest?
And it has nothing. Yeah,
That-
brother Dan, and it has nothing to do with Beth's haircut.
Every
That
couple
is the
of days,
hottest month ever.
they
Yeah.
update that because every day keeps becoming the hottest month ever recorded.
Right.
The hottest day ever recorded.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna say,
Hey,
Gnome
well,
Garden
Reef
campus.
though.
See if I can ship it to him or something. Like, it's in my garage. I'd love to get rid of it anyway.
All right. Yeah. We'll.
yeah, we got you, Gnome Garden. Here, you know us on Discord.
Yeah.
I'm opening it up right now. Let's go. All right, so, but we
You
have a
got a
show to
window
put on.
unit.
Hey,
Oh,
anyone
yeah,
else need
that's
anything? How's everyone else doing? We'd love to check in. But let's get into the topic. We are talking.
I need $1 million.
Of Legends, and please stick around because I guarantee I'm going to get some improvised scenes. I have some ideas for improvisational scenes. So let's get into it. We have 22 people watching. Everyone, just a little effort will get us to 44. Let's double that shit. Let's go.
Get it going, guys.
All right, brother Dan, you have a list of Age of Legends items. I know
Yes.
you're looking. I know you're looking at that.
I do have it right.
Let's start with some items, and but also, does anyone have? You keep that on hand. Does anyone have just kind of opening thoughts on life in Age of Legends?
I do.
Boring.
Okay, let's
I
start.
was gonna say that's exactly what I was gonna say. Boring, maybe.
What?
Whoa. Okay. Okay.
No
I would
way.
agree.
These-
Explain why. Yeah, let's go. Let's get into it, Flesh.
Well, I mean, there's nothing, it almost has a lot to do. And keep in mind, guys, this is a spoiler-riddled show. Just to let you guys know, if you are watching and you have not finished all the books, you might want to turn it off because you will hear some things that you might not know about yet.
God damn it, Jansen's such a professional.
Yep.
So,
I thought.
but just like they said at the end of the entire series, people need choices to feel and be alive, to actually be human beings and to be, individuals. You need to make choices. And unfortunately in life, some of those choices are bad ones. And without the ability to make bad choices, you get kind of cultish.
All right, help me out. Explain why there's less choice in the Age of Legends. Imagine people watching or have no idea what we're talking about. Like, let's just kind of break it down.
About a society at its highest when the Dark One doesn't really exist, or isn't. His presence in the world is so light as if he wasn't there. So there's very small instances of robbery and theft and, violence. However, those instances are very strong. When those things do happen, they tend to be greater than they would be in a society that had regular things happening. And when those things do happen in that society, like violence, like theft, like, psychological problems, those people get sent to the Aes Sedai to get basically refixed and re-engineered, or the powers used to block whatever issue it is with them. So it's kind of it's very, I'm not going to say communist, but it's very North Korean kind of.
It's utopian.
It's utopian, but also without the usual utopian, like in fantasy and science fiction, usually has that like seedy part of it where it's like, the people in power are actually, hoarding money or whatever.
Yes, that's correct. Yes, you're right. They don't have that. They
don't have that. Yeah, there's no the way you gain fame and status in the Age of Legends is through service to the populace. That's why Aes Sedai are servants of all. Like, that's the highest level you can achieve as an Aes Sedai. Well, technically the leader of the Aes Sedai, so is the highest level you could achieve, who is the servant of literally everybody. They're the first among servants. So they're the first servant, is also another translation of the Amerlin Seat. So like the part of it that's a little bit dirty for me, that feels a little bit is the fact that they can kind of alter people's personalities who are criminals. Crime crime is dealt with harshly in the Age of Legends. The oath rod that the Aes Sedai use in the current timeline is called a binding rod, and it's a terangrial that the Aes Sedai used to bind criminals to stop them from ever committing those crimes again. But it's been alluded to that it was also used to prevent crime as well. Like if they,
like with Summer.
Like if they can identify a sociopath at age 10, then they go, here, take this rod, swear never to kill anybody.
Yeah.
It's like a little
and so to that point, it wasn't utopia per se. There were flaws. There were it wasn't like the Garden of Eden. And so let me give one example, right, that I was thinking about. Here's a passage about the Anceline Gardens, and it talks about this Chinje wheels. It seems like it's a gambling thing, right? So, quote, at the gardens, only the finest wines had been served, the finest dishes, and it almost always had been possible to impress a beautiful woman with large winnings at the Chinje wheels, though cheating enough to win consistently had been difficult. There was also gambling at the Chinje wheels. So the fact that there was gambling, to me, suggests that there was addiction, right? There were people who there had to, what do you do to collect losses? Well, you may resort to violence. Beautiful women, because of large paychecks, indicates prostitution, perhaps. This wasn't, a flawless situation.
Well, hold on a minute, though. Hold on.
What?
Who's to say? I love what DKmoon said in chat. It's utopia. It may not be your utopia.
I just want to say
because a place where a woman can choose the career and the profession that she wants, whether it's prostitution or something else, to be able to safely practice that act and be cherished and be successful is a utopia for her. And it really truly was a socialist utopian society.
It was, yeah. There was no
for
money.
Nothing. There was an order that was established. Everybody had their quote unquote place. And there's all human beings being human beings. We always have an inclination to question authority or to possibly do harm And they were using the tools that they had at their disposal to manage the quote unquote flaws of human nature.
Well,
And
they also, their society had one huge flaw that I believe we can give the credit to Elaine. I'll explain later in a little bit. Elaine Trican on how it could be fixed. No, they had they had no law enforcement really, other than the Aes Sedai.
Well, the Aes Sedai. Yeah, they didn't need law enforcement.
Didn't need it.
Exactly.
They didn't need law enforcement.
But that's the pressure cooker that toppled everything in half. Into
Pressure cooker that topped everything in half was drilling into the war.
Yeah.
But
that
I
wasn't
fine before that.
And I
yes,
knew you were,
there was an increase when the barrier was being weakened. There were things that were happening.
Okay,
That's
well,
when I wouldn't want to be alive. When I saw at the time
The war of power. It's about 120 or 150 years from when the Column Dan crashes, when Mirren drills the bore, and when they figure out that the Dark One is free and influencing the world. So that time frame, 150 years, fucked up shit is happening.
really fucked up shit.
Yeah.
I mean, like children being like brutalized, like murders, killings of best friends, husbands stabbing wives. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
Well, there was
the everyday occurrence of our society.
Well, there was apparently entertainments where they even had like almost gladiator stuff where
that was actually during the War of Shadow in the Forsaken controlled areas, because it's a few hundred years of the fall of civilization into the War of Shadow. There's like 200 years about of time that passes until from the drilling of the bore till the sealing of the bore. 200 to 300 years. So like that's a long time. Like entire societies have rose and fallen in 200 to 300 years. So like the gladiatorial combats, the gambling dens, all of that stuff could have been during that time. Well, we know the gladiatorial combat was. I don't know about the gambling dens.
The gambling, it says, was in the garden, so I assume that the gardens existed before the boar existed. But
yeah.
All right, but actually, I was going to save this point till later, but let's get into it. Our friend, Grendel, right, was the psychologist, and she was specialized in healing like emotional and mental wounds that not even Aes Sedai could heal. So many implications around that, and let's talk about like if it's such an idyllic world, like, where are these people suffer? How are people suffering so much that they even need psychology in the first place?
Well, because psychology is
I have the argument that even if the bore was never, ever, ever opened, eventually this would have happened to them anyway. Because everything that they're doing in the society is one huge Band-Aid.
Talk to me. Talk to me.
Everyone's coming to Grendel at the time with all of these, different problems that they're having that she's trying to... But
Grendel was just the foremost psychiatrist. She wasn't the only psychiatrist.
Well,
she's preeminent psychologist.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's like, and you know what? It tells me this too, that Grendel, her prowess had a lot to do with not using the power.
Yeah. Most of it was not using the power. I mean, that's what a psychologist does. Yeah.
So it's like she was extremely great, even though she was one of the most powerful channelers. I mean, that's another, look into her, that she was known for her, talents that had nothing to do with the power. Even though she was one of the most powerful channelers. That's pretty crazy when you think about it.
Right. It's like her status. I always imagine being like not in the joking sense, but like seriously, like she was like a celebrity because she was a psychiatrist, and the closest example of someone like that we have is like Dr. Phil or somebody like that.
Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, she was. I wonder how much of compulsion she invented herself.
Well, I was going to ask, like, how much is this her experimenting with compulsion?
Someone in her position might even think, I've done everything I can to try to figure out why this person is going crazy, and I don't know if I can do anything, but I can use the power to make them do what I want. And it started there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think the compulsion was used before the boar was ever, before the boar.
It could have been. The problem with compulsion is it's easily discernible. So like the compulsion isn't something that you could do to somebody and no one knows. So like if someone is compulsed, they like anyone who can channel can identify, like obviously they have to be of the correct site inside R. But anyone who can channel the power that did the compulsion can identify that someone was compulsed.
Totally.
So
but in the Age of Legends, compulsion was used as a sentencing though, right?
that's not no. We don't know that. I mean it's a pretty like it's a small leap to take to think that they use the oath rods to bind people to swear not to do things, and why wouldn't they compulse people? But
isn't that why Semerhag went to the shadow itself?
No,
they were going to bind her or compulse her, weren't they, to not be able to do?
No.
Grendel?
Semerhag went to the shadow
Semerhag,
went to the shadow because she got caught inflicting pain on people while she was healing them.
Totally. But didn't they give her a choice?
Didn't they give her a choice?
No choice at all.
Well, she went on trial and she like ran away during her trial. Is pretty
right.
much
So I don't think they gave her a choice.
They said no. In her POV, it says she says to herself while she's in that little dungeon that it was no choice at all. She said that they gave her a choice to take away her delights or her lusts. And
I'm almost 100% sure that she says like that they were during her trial they were gonna bind her or sever her, and she was like, I'm not doing either of those, so she left.
All right, clearly we need Noman Garden to jump in here with a timely
When
quote.
the Hall of Servants found out about her sadistic crimes, they offered her a choice: be bound as a criminal by a binder, not to take her pleasures, or to be severed. Semerhag was furious at the Hall for thinking more of common people over someone as important as her. She chose a third option. She was among the first to pledge her soul to the shadow.
So no compulsion.
We were kind of all right.
All right, so but like let's get into the weeds here. What could be drawing people? So we know that Ace and I were healing people of mental and emotional wounds. Okay?
And frankly, I could use a little compulsion if I can't stop drinking alcohol. Just have someone just magically make me stop.
Yeah. Hey, brother, Dan, stop.
Stop,
Dan, stop.
Oh wow.
Stop.
Wow, that tingles.
Well, there is it can help you do that.
Yeah. What? Wait. Say it again.
There is supposedly an incantation that can help you stop drinking.
Is that canon?
Yeah.
I guess.
I don't know for sure. I hate quoting Robert Jordan when I don't exactly remember what he said, but he did, like, I do remember like this discussion a lot because this was something that we talk about a lot, like at JordanCon and shit over the years. But the idea of it being a utopia was in the sense of there was no class. There was no classes. There was no poor people. There was no rich people. There was no homelessness. The crime was kept to a minimum because no one needed to steal anything. Most crime that happens in our world is because of wealth inequality and healthcare inequality and stuff like that. So with a lack of that, you don't have a lot of crime. So the crime usually falls to the people who are mentally deficient in such a way, like sociopaths and
there was
sadists and stuff like that.
Wait, say again, Jensen?
There was money though.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
there's no money.
Wait, how are they gambling?
That I'm almost 100% sure that the gambling stuff was all stuff that started post bore drill.
All right. The wiki we looked at said it was like
Yeah,
there
the
in the,
POV from the gambling, and that's I don't know if because I think you could be right, Tom. That's
Yeah.
I mean that definitely explains it, but I'm not in the POV that we have from Erengar. I don't know if they say, you know, if there's any concrete evidence if they give a timeline when she's talking about when she was doing it to impress women. So, and if that's the case, were the gardens there before or afterwards, or did the gardens start making gambling legal there before or afterwards? We know that the gardens had some of the best wine in the world, apparently ever created.
Yeah. I don't remember if it's that there's no money at all or if money didn't matter. Like the material wealth wasn't anything. The because even they
remember. Even okay, so
there's something with a citizenship too.
There was definitely money, and I can say why I know this because even in Gideon's POV, when she was teaching the girls, she talks about how Quindiar was even expensive back then.
But expensive doesn't mean money. Doesn't necessarily need to mean money.
But it means that there was something of luxury that was worth something.
That wasn't egalitarian necessarily. It was, it's not the Marxist.
Like it could be. It doesn't have to be capitalistic in nature. It could have been barter. You know, like Quendiar is not just as like it's hard to make. Like not anyone can make it. It's a talent. So like. Exactly. So the rarity of it could be is one of the reasons why it was sought after. But
they talk about the value of things a lot with the Forsaken. Some of their POVs, like with Grendel and Samael, when he found that stasis box and he had those paintings, and maybe the value was the rarity of it. Like you're saying, you could be right, but they did have value of things.
Everything has value in the sense of like,
here we go.
Gardens, but necessary scholar who lacked wealth, all gone in ruins by the third year of the war. So the war started. Well, the war started 100 years after the bore was drilled. So that's still a long time, 100 to 150 years before.
Okay, no, did you see that? That was a huge quote. That gave a ton of information right there.
Yeah, let's go back to it.
But what is that? What is that from? Like, where are we getting that?
So
but also, the war is about 100 years after the bore was drilled. So that time is the descent out of the utopia. You know what I mean? Like, that's
all gone by ruins by the third year of the war.
Yeah. So right before the war.
There before the war.
It says here the gardens were a favorite haunt to many of the age, including Balthamel and Grendel, before and possibly after they turned to the Shadow. The gardens were destroyed in the third year of the War of the Shadow.
So that tells me that the gardens were a place that people of
with a wealth, just looking at wealth, quote unquote.
Well, there's also a level of citizenry we know.
Yeah, that's true. Third names.
Yes. So that's another, like, wealth was done through service. Like fame and status was done through service. We know that. So like the common citizen or the common person wouldn't have a third name, you know? So like those are the people that's the class separation. But it's not through wealth or like, you know, there's no homelessness, there's no people starving.
You might be right. Let's look at this from a different way, because I think Tom might be right. So who were the poorest people, or the people who had the least amount of things, or that would be the Aiel at the time, right? And that was a
Not
choice.
Necessarily. They were just in service to the Aes Sedai, but that doesn't mean that they were.
That doesn't mean that they were poor, or didn't have anything.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm sure they needed. I mean, they had Joe cars. There's someone had to change that tire.
Yeah, but
it
I
wasn't Loose Theron.
Very pious lives, because that's where the cat and sword came from. You know, they had very simple clothing, and the cat and sword actually came from that. And so, and they all wore it. It was not none of them, except for the wise ones.
Yeah.
So the way that the Aiel look at themselves in the Third Age is a bastardization of who they were in the Age of Legends.
I would think that they Aiel, but you know, they probably on the low level.
They were also esteemed members of society because they were. If you remember Rand's POV when he went through when the boar was broken, one of his ancestors was traveling to the boar because he was in service to Mirren, or he was in going to. Tell me the name of the university that got destroyed.
PragerU.
No, PragerU. We wish. No, no. No, that no. You know what I'm talking about. The place that was destroyed. The place that got destroyed when the boar was opened.
Colon Dawn.
Thank you. Thank you. So when it was destroyed, he was on his way there because, and I'm echoing, but I don't know why I'm echoing. Does somebody
I don't hear it.
I heard a little bit. Yeah.
I have headphones on.
I don't hear.
Okay, that's weird. Anyway, so I don't know why I'm echoing. That's very strange.
Let me. Yeah.
Well, can we say that this is somewhat of a caste system, though, that we're looking at?
No.
Could a
and the people who would be revered wouldn't let that happen. And could
Daishan be anything but Daishan? I mean,
yes. You're not born in caste systems are social hierarchies that are passed down through their families. Right. So like you're and that wasn't the way it was in the Age of Legends. Like you weren't born into a caste. You can do whatever you want.
Were there other Aiel besides the Daishan?
Yeah, the Aiel weren't a people. Like they weren't. Aiel was a status. It was
like a religion almost.
Kind of, because there's Robert Jordan talks about how very adamantly how there's no religion in the Wheel of Time. So, but the Aiel were. In the sense of an organized religion, but to be an Aiel wasn't to worship the Aes Sedai; it was to serve those who serve all.
Right.
So it wasn't like they didn't worship them; they helped them, and it was a job. It was a job title. Aiel was a job title. Aes Sedai was a job title, and Aes Sedai wasn't a permanent job title. It was something you picked up and put down when you took jobs. It was almost like the
name Aes Sedai was also something that was revered differently in the Age of Legends than it was in the present time.
Oh yeah, it meant something completely different.
What I think this is a very strange way of looking at it, but the word Aes Sedai in the Age of Legends almost took on the same value and the same use as the Three Oaths did in regular time. They didn't have the Three Oaths back then, but if you were an Aes Sedai, you were revered and you were a servant of all. So everyone trusted you. You were a servant of all. And it was there are more people now in the present time who don't even know that the Aes Sedai, that the name means servant of all. Back then they all did, but over the years
they spoke the language.
Yeah. And over the years, that the idea became more, so they needed the 3 O's for people.
Yeah.
It wasn't that they were called Aes Sedai and then everyone understood the meaning of that word. That was how they spoke. They spoke in the old one.
Exactly. And it had more meaning because that was Aes Sedai meant servant of all. So it's servant of all Thomas coming today. Oh my God, servant of all is coming. We need. Oh my God, great.
Yeah.
But instead, it's now the Aes Sedai is coming. They're like, oh shit,
Yeah,
run.
fear. It's like when I'm followed by when a cop is behind me and when I'm driving, I instantly like go, oh shit.
Yeah, but it was the idea of it being it wasn't a title in the sense of it was a made up word that meant servant of all. It was just the words servant of all in their language.
That makes sense.
It's like what incident happened after the Age of Legends during the beginning when they built the White Tower? What crazy thing happened that made them have to come up with the 3 O's so that everyone would trust them?
It was after the War of Arthur Hawkwing.
Yeah, Arthur Hawkwing laid siege to Tar-Valon for
and that's the whole
50 years.
Well, and his hatred of the Aes Sedai maligned them in the eyes of the average man, and then society tumbled again when he died and his empire fell to ruin. And War of 100 Years. So the Aes Sedai were not trusted, so they did the 3 O's to gain trust of
how
populace again.
It's also generally accepted that the reason why Arthur Hawkwing became so distrustful of Aes Sedai toward the end and fought them was because it was one of Ishamael's turns out of the thing. Yeah,
exactly.
When you think of how much work Robert Jordan put in, knowingly or unknowingly, for there to be prequels and sequels to this, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, he's the only person who even comes close to his world building is Brandon Sanderson.
Yeah. I agree
and J.R. Tolkien, obviously, but Tolkien started it. Tolkien's is more, I don't know. It's a little bit, it's different. It's a different type of world building than Jordan's. Jordan's feels more historical, where Tolkien's always felt more theological in his building.
I mean, with certain curse words that were, with certain races of people, he went so deep, it's ridiculous. I mean, the amount of detail is incredible.
The one thing that I wanted to mention about the Age of Legends specifically was the idea of there being ages before the Age of Legends, especially the ages of great advancement and need of things like the Horn of Valir is a relic from before the Age of Legends. The Portal Stones are a relic from before the Age of, and the Portal Stones, the people, the Aes Sedai in the Age of Legends didn't understand the function of them.
Yeah, even going back farther, Piran's ability.
Yeah, that's a thing from that's just a natural thing, as natural as channeling.
Yeah, completely. So
so they didn't fully understand that either. So I always liked the thought of what were things that they tried to understand in the Age of Legends, and things that things like that.
Yeah, go on. Tell us more. What do you mean?
I mean, there was that interdimensional travel, timeline travel they understood, and interplanetary travel they had, but we don't know to what extent.
Lews Therin even knew about it and didn't even care to even look into it
because it wasn't a big deal. Yeah.
Well,
what stuff did they think wasn't a big deal that would blow the minds of every person in Randland?
Right. Well, let's look at the concept of the boar itself. Right. They discovered a source of power that was outside of the pattern, as they Bewaramon had said. It was that they were trying to tap into something that wasn't even part of the pattern. What does that even mean for them to do? I don't blame him or any of the researchers for trying to do this. This is what science is, man.
I agree.
You try to get to it, and they just happen to tap into something that the creator it should have put somewhere in a more safe place.
Yeah. The idea was that they understood that originally they were trying to figure out why Saidin and Saidar were different, and why there were hard and fast rules to the one power, in the sense of the sizes of circles, and you couldn't, two men couldn't start a circle. There has to be at least a certain amount of women in a circle, and a circle just containing women or users of Sidar couldn't go bigger than 13 without at least one man in the circle, and circles couldn't get bigger than a certain number. I think it was like 117 or something.
They called that a ring back then, right?
I think so. I don't remember.
So a quote from Moradin that the people of the new
ring, yeah,
invented something called involuntary rings, and he couldn't believe it. He said that as he saw Avienda unravel the web, and he was amazed by that too.
All right, let's hold everyone. I'm going to cut this short. We have some special guests joining us. Yeah, one was planned, one was not. Let's bring it.
Not. That's the way we do it. All right, stop. Hey!
Oh my gosh.
What a bummer. I'm so sorry.
Goodness.
It's
Hi, Joe. Hi, Elwood.
Oh, hey, boys.
Hello.
friends.
So you were just killing it in chat tonight, Elfwich, with some of the greatest comments I've heard in months. So I just said, hey, why don't you just...
Is that what you did, Ron?
Jump in here. Yeah, I did.
Glove, get on the field.
Yeah. Suit up.
Ryan, I have our first poll, if you don't mind. I don't want to drop out of this tiny conversation. We kind of got past it. But for me, the Daishan IEO are indeed a subservient race. They are known for their red hair. They are known for their size, and they're also known for their clothing. They have what's called a covenant. They're the only IEO we know, and they are. I think that this is hereditary, just like it is with the way the leaf, just like it is with all the other IEO, that you are born into something. I don't think these IEO, sure, maybe they didn't mind it, but I don't think that they were on an equal scale. And in fact, the fact that no one hurt them, it was unconscionable to even hurt them, meant that they were not looked at as normal folk to a
Agree,
certain
100%.
degree.
They were a dynastic order.
So I'd like to say, was this a caste system, or were these somewhat indentured by birth? Right,
No.
that's the poll.
It's an honored position.
That's the poll. That's the poll.
That's
Man,
the
one
poll.
Oh, my
That's
bad.
the poll. That's a lot of
I
words.
see Elfwood shaking her head. She's saying no.
Yeah, no.
I'm not saying no. I'm just saying wow.
All right, so yeah, the poll is: are a Daishin IEO a lower class in Age of Legends?
I don't
Not
think
a
they were a
lower-
lower class. They were
lower
an
class.
honored class,
One
but they
person
were it was familial. You were associated with certain Aes Sedai, because if you remember, when the War of Power just ended, one of Rand's ancestors found his grandfather hanging because he had been associated with Mirren,
Charge.
and the person the vision before that, from Rand's point of view, was of that grandfather. He was the one on the way who got knocked over by the person when that Kolim Dam blew up. He was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Daishan Aiel. I'm so sorry," and he tried to help him up. And so it is family oriented, but I don't think that they're.
Well, here's what let me
or-
reinforce. Based on the Wheel of Time wiki, it says here, quote, an individual Aes Sedai was commonly served by multiple Daishan. When two Daishan who were served different Aes Sedai married, one of them would request to transfer their service to their spouse's Aes Sedai so that they could be together.
But none of it was like in none of the text anywhere is anything ever said that they are required to do that. Like if someone is born into a family of Daishan at IEO, they're not stuck there. They don't have to, like a caste system requires a hierarchy of not allowing people to change their status. And it's never suggested that if your mom and dad are Daishan Aiel, you have to be.
I think it is. I think it's not. It's not.
That's an opinion,
but I think
I
it's suggested.
think-
I mean, I think
I
this
think-
is a.
There is evidence.
They have a covenant.
In what is the evidence, and in what way is it
They
suggested?
have a
Because
covenant. What does the
Okay,
covenant mean? I
here's
mean,
evidence. The evidence is in the Shadow Rising, and the very fact that all the Aiel can use those things to see their relatives. All their relatives go back to the same time, to the same place, to the same things. They never left, or none of their other relatives diverged until they became the Tuathuan. And I also believe
so
that
maybe
broken off on an island and became the Amayar or whatever. But because they leave the water.
Well,
But
yeah, but so
think-
maybe there's like the only people that go into the terangrial, the ring terangrial, are wise ones and clan chiefs, and some of them die. So there's millions of Aiel that don't go in there. So like to say that every single Aiel family member is a descendant of the Dasheen Aiel is you can't say that.
but when
Ryan,
Okay,
Ryan, hit the
so
poll.
wait.
Where's
See,
the-
Can I just ask a question real
Yeah,
quick
let's
here?
get Beth.
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
Let's
shoot,
get
shoot,
Beth.
shoot.
Okay, I've been trying to ask this question. I
shoot,
think
shoot.
the biggest thing that you're missing is they didn't want to have the choice. They were
Yeah, there was no
honored
desire.
to serve the Aes
Yeah.
Sedai. So why would they want to do something else?
It
It was a
was
position of
Sounds very
honor.
negative
It's not a
in
caste
other
system.
ways, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's not a caste system because they're not forced to be in that situation.
It's
then
Because
why is there a covenant then? I don't know.
A covenant
A covenant is a
covenant seems
pact. A
like
covenant
it's
is a
mandatory.
pact. It's
A
a
covenant
mutually
is an
agreed upon
agreement.
agreement.
It's an
It's
agreement.
not. It's not the. If you're going to look at a caste
done
system
that.
in the Wheel of Time, you need to look at Shanshan society. That's a caste system.
okay, comes my big argument, because you guys just touched on it. Okay, this is why I said that during the Age of Legends, when the breaking of the world happened, all the Aiel weren't just on Ranland. Some of them were on the other side of the Aerith Ocean when it broke in half. Now, I believe that some of them became Dakovale, and I believe that some of them held on to some of the same traditions that the Aiel of the Age of Legends held on to. One of those being that they married only Dakovale. Now, I believe that the Aiel married Aiel because they talk about that.
Dakovale isn't a society. It's just slaves.
It is then, but what it morphed into, I believe, over the 3,000 years of wanderings and all. If the Aiel on this side of the ocean could become warriors, then the Aiel on that side of ocean could easily become slaves.
But it's not. There isn't like a group of people that are Dakovale. Anyone can be made Dakovale, and Dakovale means one who is owned.
Actually, yes, that's true, but that's now. No one knows what happened back then. Who were the original Dakovale? Why were they even Dakovale in the first place?
The original
that's
Dakovale were
loose.
the subjugated races of that existing
I mean, because
continent that was
know
conquered by the
that
Shanshan.
Yeah.
they took customs from the Age of Legends.
What
It's
is
alone. The hell?
what does Elf Witch and Joe think of that? Think of Shanshan Dakovale are a society, not
Yeah,
just slaves.
It goes
No.
from 3,000 years ago when, okay, if you have Aiel on the other side of the ocean and they're being, we would consider it subjugated, but their honor is to serve. And over 3,000 years, they take prisoners and they make them servants. And over time, it becomes this other thing. It's not something that we recognize because it's been so long and society changes and their society is so brittle that it becomes this more like the actual caste system where you cannot move up unless you have very small, chance of moving in society because their society becomes more brittle. They master other people much more easily than in Randland, where it's
Right.
much more individual choice and respect for individuality, and they don't have that respect over there.
Yeah.
So I can see where that would came. One other thought: anybody recognize the Daishan being so close to the word Gaishain?
Yeah.
It's the same type of concept.
Yeah. I'm actually in full agreement with you. That's kind of what I would have imagined would have happened. Like it wasn't slavery at the beginning, but 3,000 years later, that's what it
Well,
absorbing
you also
other
have to
people's
remember-
culture, or conquering and absorbing other people, and then what was once there a sense of place of honor is now lost, and now has become this like sense of place of servitude.
General Ty Lee even said, "These Aiel make fantabulous, like great Taco Veil."
Yeah,
I think the other thing that you
But that's
have to
because
remember.
when you take the Aiel as Gachane, they listen and they don't fight. So that's what they're great Daco Veil for a year and a day.
for a year and a day. Yeah.
Exactly.
And then there's a spear through your head.
Yeah.
They're less good.
Yeah.
I think the other thing you have to remember is that Arthur Hawkwing was not a benevolent ruler.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Conquered these nations,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of the early precepts of what we see is in the Shanshan in the Third Age are ties of the ultimate extremes that the hierarchy of Arthur Hawkwing's inner court was exercising to maintain rule on fractured lands. So when they left, they took that what's the word I'm looking for? That autocratic type of mindset, and they took it with them across the ocean. So I think it stems more from Arthur Hawkwing than it does from coming from the Age of Legends.
Yeah.
Great point. Awesome.
We're also talking about the Shanshan as we understand them now versus what they were like 3,000 years ago, which is also very different. So it wasn't like it wasn't like their system had been worked out completely yet either.
Right. They didn't exist 3,000 years ago.
Yeah, there weren't two continents 3,000 years prior. Or actually, depending on how you look at it, because the planet that they're on is meant to be Earth, and where wow, this music is very distracting.
It is?
Yeah, I was it stopped me in my tracks. Where Randland takes place, the Westlands, is meant to be Europe, descending into like a morphed version of like Africa that's been like bent in the wrong direction, which is why the desert is in the wrong way. And then the Shanshan is meant to be North America and South America, just all fucked up. So like at some point they were one continent, but maybe that might even be way prior to the Age of Legends. Like we don't know it was one continent in the Age of Legends.
Mm-hmm.
But they were interconnected societies. Like because gateways were a thing, flying was a thing, portal Terangriel were a thing. So it's not like they were disconnected and didn't know each other existed like they did then.
Right. The Kohen Call itself, I'd like to think that when it was constructed, it wasn't 1,000 miles apart from one another. I think they were probably in the same city. And the breaking sent one over to Tremalking and the other one over to Kyrian. I think the breaking did all that. I don't think that they were that far apart from one another. The
breaking created 6 individual places that all had changed. That couldn't. There was all one, then it all came to. Then it basically became 6. It's like Shara, Shanshan, Randland, the Isle of Madness, the Aiel Waste, and the Oceans. So those are where all the societies are now. Like they were all one, now they're 6. And they all had pretty much no contact with the others as far as forming their societies over 3,000 years.
So there was Pangea basically in the AOL. Is what you're saying.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
maybe.
nice.
Turned into the 6, I guess you could call them nations if you want.
Right, but instead of just breaking, it was more like a Rubik's Cube or something.
Yeah.
It's so funny. When I God damn it, Elfwitch, you just reminded me of something I hadn't thought in so many years. When I first read this book, I thought of Pangea, and I thought the breaking, quote unquote, was like the primitive a fairy tale to explain all of that phenomena, right? And the whole time I read these, I read this whole thing thinking this is just how like simple-minded people try and make sense of the world.
Not that it actually took place.
Right, yeah. I thought none of this was real. I thought none of it was real. And it was just like, a lot of it was just like how people were like fantastically perceiving the world. Now, like, second reread, it's like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, because even the dark one's like the boogeyman that you don't talk about, like kind of thing. Like, it's just it's like a fairy tale that you just...
You're not allowed to make
don't talk about that,
Yeah.
I would like to... I wonder if every age... Well, I guess our age, no. But what ages are that that there's a creator in Dark One? That there is no religion, because why have churches when it's already fact? You already know that souls are recycled. You know that this wheel exists.
Oh, okay.
Sometime after our age and just before the Age of Legends.
Yeah.
Obviously, because here we are.
It's like, it's hard, and I know these are Robert Jordan's words, that there's no religion or anything, but it's easy to say there's no religion by just substituting religion with another word.
No. But he said like the fundamental truth. No, I love to analyze what he said specifically. He said like the fundamental truths of right and wrong are just inherently known, and that leads me again to my idea that like there's a lot of predeterminism.
But if they just replace the word religion with another word, where is any of the dogma, the theology, the worship? Like, it's
they whisper prayers.
Well, I can tell you right now, the theology of it's said by Amis to Egwene immediately when she says to her, I quote, "Of course there's good people among you," because she says we know right and wrong when she's trying to talk to Amis about Ji'ito.
That's not
okay.
Ji'ito is like a religion. It has to be, because no one else follows it.
Oh, wow.
It's more like a philosophy. It's more like Stoicism.
Yeah.
The closest thing to Ji'ito is the Code of Bushido, which is like the samurai Hammurabi code. That's not a religion, because a religion is built around worship. And there is no worship or faith. Religion is built around faith. They don't have faith.
No, yeah. So, and that's what's so crazy, because like this,
we wake and go.
A lot of things they believe are just inherently true.
Yeah.
And we don't worship we don't pray that the sun's going to rise, because it's going to rise.
We used to.
They talk about the light and the creator, but they don't have churches to the creator.
Exactly.
Even
in Amador, in the heart of the White Cloak land,
evangelicals.
Yeah, the radicalized group of zealots of the light don't worship the creator in churches or have catechism or dogma surrounding the creator. It's just there's the creator and there's the
and there's right and wrong. Yeah, and there's everything that's wrong and there's everything that's right.
And Confucianism isn't a religion. Good point, Quarks.
I mean, I have from the Dark Friend's mouth of Robert Jordan's own words, I'd pray to the creator if I still believed in him.
Well, that's because horrible things are happening. They're
praying.
No, but all right. I mean, I think that's a stretch. I don't think that's. I don't think that they like when the Forsaken says that, they don't actually think the creator doesn't exist. They're saying that in the idea of.
That's not his argument. His argument is that they're praying, period, and that's worship.
Yeah,
that's what he's saying.
There is a blessing. May you lay in the creator's hand at the time of death and all that stuff. There is these things that people.
There are traditions. Let me hear. All right,
hold on a second. Praying to or like sending a message to the creator or believing in the creator in the Dark One doesn't necessarily negate or like mean that there's religion, though.
Exactly.
Like, so when he says there's no religion, what he means is there's no organized function to worship at the feet of these people or things.
Yeah,
like deities. But like the point is that there's like this idea that they know these things exist and they mention them all the time and they may even talk to them and have a relationship with them. But it's not like an organized section of like people that go like, this is what's going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more ritual.
Wait. Beth, what were you?
I was just going to say it's more ritual.
Yeah,
It's
it's
much more
yeah.
ritualistic. It's less. It's man-made construct. It's not based on faith. It's based on. So the white cloaks are based on the works of a man.
Yeah.
The writings of a man who.
Yeah.
And wanted to, and basically was saying, you know, anything that's not walking in the light the way that we see it is
wrong.
And so we have to get rid of this wrongness. And they're doing it for the light as they see it, but it's not a religious order
and they don't
in the way that
Ryan
we
wants
look
to talk,
at as
Jansen
a
wants to talk
religious
so bad.
order.
No.
So sorry, I just okay.
No, Ben. Yeah, that
No,
makes
this is
complete
exciting.
sense.
I'm so thrilled. One question, and then I have a follow up.
No.
Are the dragon
Only
sword
one.
can the dragon sword be considered a religion? Masema.
Ish. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
But that's at the very end of the third age, and maybe that was like giving birth to what the idea of religion would become in like the
That's
fourth.
a very-
Like, maybe that's like
Christ,
the beginning of.
All right. I love that, Joe. Yeah. I love that.
I love
Okay.
that. That
During
makes
the Age of
perfect sense.
Legends, but during the Age of Legends, which is what we were talking about, there is no religion. There's nothing. There is no.
Well,
religion
to
whatsoever.
that point, let me ask Beth and Alfwitch, did they have an idea of the Dark One at all in the Age of Legends before they tapped into the board? Was the creator a thing, or was just magic just part of life, and that's how it was? And then suddenly they opened Pandora's box and learned. What do you think? Did they know that the Dark One was there even before this?
I don't think they did. I think that they had, I mean, the utopian society we talk about, they, like my comment in chat was, there's universal basic income. Nobody wants for anything. They all have what they need. They have food, they have shelter, all of this wealth created by the magic that they have, created by the Nim and all of these other creatures that they work together with. They have what they need. So the only way to increase your status is by service. And they were doing scientific research to discover, other ways. Maybe they had
I think
maxed
the Dark
out.
One was a new form of power.
It was.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
That is what
Maybe
they
they
thought,
maxed out what they could actually do with the power at the end of the Age of Legends, and they were looking for other power sources, and that's what Mirren was involved in, and she found
It
it.
seemed like they were aware of the structure of the pattern itself. So I wonder, did they think about who created that lace, or what the wheel is? It seems like they knew about these things.
They did.
I think that they
knew
did know
about
about those things. I mean, because think about it. Ishamael was a renowned philosopher. So you know that they knew about creation, and they knew about the creator, and they know about the wheel, because the wheel has been universally accepted,
Yeah, of course.
right?
Yeah.
But as far as the knowledge that you have to have there's a balance to darkness and light, they didn't know that because they were living to one extreme. It's almost like, I hate to bring in another media into it, but like the Jedi Council, right? In the ages of the end of the Republic, it was the Jedi Council had become kind of stuck in its own
dogma.
And
How dare you bring up Star Wars?
They were
the
in
Wheel of Time show,
extreme,
Beth.
right? I mean, I'm just saying. I'm using it as
Laser
a
swords and the
comparison.
Force. It's ridiculous. Let's get back to the one power. You know?
Saying,
Grandar, shall we?
just saying there are some parallelisms to the end of the Age of Legends and the end
And
of
the fall of the Republic.
the Republic as we saw it in the Star Wars universe.
I had a thought on what you said, Beth. They had it so good that when it went bad, it went way bad, and
the pendulum righted itself, right? There needed to be balance, and that's the thing, and that's like the whole when Rand is confronting the Dark One in the last battle. He talks about, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to get rid of you, and then he sees what the world would be like without the presence of the shadow, even if he is imprisoned. So there has to be a balance, and the Age of Legends went way too far of this is, we're just going to do all of the good things but ignore all of the bad. The human nature we have free will. We are going to make bad decisions, and bad decisions have bad outcomes.
So
right?
never
yeah.
So
Just watch this channel for a couple
to
weeks.
stifle those urges and stifle those inclinations, which is what they did in the Age of Legends, that's just going to lead to a weakening of your base and the toppling of society, which is exactly what happened.
Ooh, wow.
Kind of my only pushback on that is the fact that the only thing they suppressed were things that hurt other people that was unconsensual. But I wanted to make a point to something that Marisu said, actually, something that the Dragonsworn were a good parallel for the first followers of Jesus. I actually would disagree vehemently with that. A more accurate version of the first followers of Jesus would be the Aiel, because they're not radicalized. They're not blind in following Rand, i.e. Rand is Jesus. Like Rand is the version of Jesus, like the analogy of Jesus in the Wheel of Time. And even he who comes with the dawn, like that's literally a name for Jesus. But where the Dragonsworn are more closer to the crazy, like insane, like Ku Klux Klan, the radical Protestant evangelical.
They are the Crusaders of the Middle Ages. They are the Crusaders of the Middle Ages, and the White Cloaks are the Spanish Inquisition.
But I gotta push back. I mean,
compare the two.
Early Christians were like sacrificing themselves to the lions. Like they would not renounce their own religion.
Those are early Christians 300 years after Jesus died, not the followers of Jesus when he was alive, which is what we're talking about, because Rand is alive.
Okay, so there's an important thing we need to recognize, though. The reason that comment was said is because we're talking about the fact that religion did or did not exist. And I would say, again, we're talking about, if you're talking about the Dragonsworn as a recognition that a religion existed in the Wheel of Time, we're talking about 2 to 3 years before the next age starts.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like, that is
love
not
your analogy.
That is not a good
idea.
representation of the fact that religion did or did not exist in the Age of Legends or in the Wheel of Time in general.
Like
I get that the impetus is there and the idea is there and it might grow into religion, but go ahead, Jansen.
Go ahead, Jansen.
I like the hand waving.
So here's one of my last arguments. I'm not going to say it's the last, but
it's not going to be the
last. Never.
People who refuse to hurt anybody, who end up, because of fate or whatever, have to go through a perilous journey for thousands of years, who get turned through all kinds of things to finally emerge at a magical place where they get told their commandments and what they have to do. And what they need to do for the rest of their people to survive. And to one day be taken from their promised land, or from their tortured place to back to the promised land. And they follow he who comes with the dawn. How is that not a religion?
Well, because they didn't follow he who comes with the dawn. They don't worship him, and they didn't go to a magical place. They built that place. When they went to the Threefold Land, religion didn't exist. Well, the Aiel are an amalgam of the tribes of Israel, not going to heaven.
Their wisest people told them to go search the promised land for the thing.
Because they literally had prophecies that could tell the future. Not because it's not blind faith, it's science.
No, I hear the distinction, like Robert.
That's exactly what you're talking about. No, Thomas, that's exactly what you're talking about. Okay, so all of those Aiel that you're talking about, and you're talking about people who didn't radicalize, right?
Yes.
So
just by the way, real quick, I'm on Tom's side here.
Yeah.
Those people who did radicalize, Mesmer was one of the only people who actually saw a miracle happen. Right? He saw
him up in the sky.
Yeah, he saw him.
Thousands of people saw the miracle happen.
And people
Thousands of people saw it.
That's a small percentage, though.
thousands of people saw it, but they didn't start a cult for it.
Yeah, and he totally started.
But because there's also it's also kind of accepted that Massimo kind of went a little crazy after the Portal Stone hiccup.
It's insane to you though how most of the people who saw all of Rand's miracles were considered crazy.
But also back
all
to
people who did
no, absolutely not.
No,
1,000% no.
And I would not say people who believe in God are crazy.
Yeah, every single person that lived in Falm, every single Shanchan that lived in Falm, all of the Aes Sedai that were there, all of the Shinarans, like no.
Right. Do you mean God, our Almighty Creator, and everyone we should love?
May He live forever.
May He live forever.
I mean,
all right, guys. Beth, take the floor for a second.
Okay, so.
Okay.
Wait, it's Beth's turn. Jansen, Beth's turn.
Jansen has one thing. I think he has one thing he wants to get out.
Yeah, Jansen, finish it.
Go for it.
Okay.
My last argument that this is religion. Kieran to loyal. I didn't know that the Ogier or the Rand to loyal. I didn't know that the Ogier believed in the pattern. Of course. In the pattern.
We're talking about the Age of Legends, but we're also talking about the Age of Legends.
It's a belief.
We're talking about
pattern is a universally accepted thing. It's universally accepted in the Third Age. Yes, it's universally accepted.
So I think we're mincing words here. I think what he meant is there's literally not a building where people go to in the Two Rivers and sit down and listen to some dickhead talk about the Creator. And that is a religion with a building and a church and a thing. Yeah. I think that's what he meant by that. I don't think he meant literally there's no belief in a God. No, but obviously is evident everywhere.
So
in this story.
I think Robert Jordan he's very much describing social beliefs, like social constructs that are
there's definitely a belief in a higher power.
And then how each culture it deals with the fundamental truths.
But here's the problem that we're facing right now, and it's to what Joe just said. Jansen, you keep getting back to the current time in the Wheel of Time, which is the setting of Rand. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the Age of Legends, and it's specifically different because the things even the things that you're bringing up, the specific things that you're bringing
we're witnessing a moment of change, a shifting of ages.
That's one thing. But believing in the pattern and believing in the Creator and having faith in those are not things that are in their lexicon because they know they're real. So
that spear got cracked, religion was recreated again.
Yes. But that's
Tom,
3,000 years later. We're talking about the Age of Legends right now.
How do you explain what you just said, though? How does everyone know they are real? What the fuck does that mean?
They understand that they're real. They know that the Creator created things. They understand.
You know what? Honestly, maybe a convergence of these ideas would be that it's not that there's no religion; it's that there's only one.
Yeah,
and it's not this it's not this splinter of like all this other ideas or who their savior is or who anything is. It's just Creator, Dark One, Dragon. That's it. There's no
waterway, G-Ito, way of the leaf, the waterway.
That's all just following the Creator. That's all just the Creator.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna take charge, right? Elfwitch, what were you just saying right now?
What I just said was that was all Third Age. That we were talking about Second Age, Age of Legends. And Beth's been waiting very patiently.
Oh, I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, let me ask you then, Beth and Elf. I'll direct all my questions just to you guys because that's what the.
But Beth quoted something in chat. What was your quote?
Oh yeah, about? I did quote something in chat.
What is that about? You want to show?
So that was from the WOTfandom.com wiki, under the Age of Legends article. It does talk about the breakdown of society. However, all was not as it seemed, according to Randolph Thorne, Luce Theron. Despite society's apparently utopian state, there were still social problems festering beneath civilization's veneer that the world's government did not want to acknowledge. In hindsight, he believed that had the bore not been drilled, these social problems might have caused war to eventually break out regardless.
Awesome.
So when
Maybe
you
they were close
attempt,
anyway.
Yeah, that's awesome.
attempt to create the greater good by eliminating human nature, there's going to be dissent and there's going to be rebellion, right? Again, getting back to my Star Wars reference, it's pretty much, like you can't have one.
Listen, when you have Mace
extreme.
Windu,
And then some
light thing,
Klingons
baby.
come in.
I mean, but all I was going to say is that you can't. Whenever society tries to live in an extreme,
yeah,
Right.
it's going to end badly. Whether it's an utopian extreme or in a totalitarian
Ooh, nice
extreme,
point. Yeah.
it's going to end badly. No matter who the leader is, the leader could be a total dickhead. The leader could be the kindest, best person ever walking on the earth. If there's no chance for people to make mistakes, learn from their mistakes, or choose not to learn from their mistakes, you're going to forget how to do things. Like if you remember when Belal confronted Rand in the Stone of Tyr, when he was going for Kalendor, he talked about how they had rediscovered the art of swords, the art of war, and how sword play used to be considered. I guess it would probably
a
be
game.
Sword, like fencing.
Yeah,
It was fencing, yeah.
And then, but they had rediscovered that from old texts, and that had been so they had forgotten those things, and so they were already, because their thirst for knowledge and their thirst for control was so vast. Again, that whole search for power, right? That's what led to the downfall of society. They tried to fix all the shit that went wrong in the first age in our times. All the shit
it's
that
a Tower of Babel
excuse
kind
my
of
language.
situation, right?
Exactly.
All right, I need a Jansen. Help me out here. Read this quote for everyone. Dramatic reading.
There were many good years, good decades, good centuries. We believed we were living in paradise. Perhaps that was our downfall. We wanted our lives to be perfect, so we ignored imperfection.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that, with everything Beth said, and that statement too. But we weren't talking about the theoretical idea of some future society after the Age of Legends. We were just talking about the Legends. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, Elf. Since it's undetermined where religion stood in this Age of Legends per se, and not religion.
Oh, it's determined.
It's
all right. Let me start.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll try again.
I'm messing with you.
It is.
Brother Dan, the world's round. Stop doing your flat earth shit.
Yes,
God damn it.
stop it with the flat earth shit, Dan.
Always with the flat earth.
I've got more proof.
Oh my god, we're not on the back of a giant turtle flying through space. It's ridiculous.
I really would like to be, though.
Okay,
I would too. I would love that.
What? Do not cite other media on this show. We are a Wheel of Time based show.
Please don't.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, Mace Windu always said.
Hold on.
Star Wars reference, girl. All right, yeah. If it's turtles all the way down, when we die, do we just land on the turtle below us and start over?
Yeah, that one's Raphael.
Great
The one below
question,
that's
Ryan.
Leonardo, and the one below
That
that's
one.
Donatello.
Okay,
And
yeah.
then at the very bottom is Splinter.
So, guys, I was
And then
wrong.
you've got April holding them all up.
Yeah, and then she's just
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
holding it up.
I'll try one more time.
Go ahead.
Shoot.
We know that in
guys,
the Age of Randland, that Rand is the Dragon Reborn, the avatar, more or less, of the creator, or the I don't know, the creator's champion. He is the reincarnation of Lews Therin. Was Lews Therin? Did they consider him part of
Oh, my
being
God.
part of the creator himself?
No.
Wait,
Thank
she's
you, Elf.
asking Elf. I think.
That's right.
Elf.
No, let's
my
just get
bad.
it.
Just between me.
Yeah.
So we talk about the Age of Legends, and I just had a memory of
I missed that you were asking Elf. That's my bad.
it's a proof of another thing that was going on during the Age of Legends before the breaking of the board, or it may be right when it happened. I'm not sure. But actually, no, it's proof that it happened before it was broken. So, does anybody remember who Gilgame is?
Oh,
Can't say that.
I used to do that combo in Street Fighter.
No, Gilgame.
Yeah, it was
I love you so much, Ryan.
Right.
I love you so fucking much.
BAD Gilgame, and then like fireball hits.
Charukin! Gilgamesh.
Finish him.
You guys remember Farmatting, right?
Yeah.
Farmatting is one of the only cities that was actually been around since the Age of Legend. Gilgame was its leader. Gilgame was against drilling for the boar. In fact, Rand has a POV of him being Lews Therin where they were talking about.
Oh, right. I remember now. He says he wish he listened to him.
Yeah, I should have listened to Gilgame.
What?
Now I just remembered that. So yeah, there was religion back then. At least
How did that prove there was religion?
That's not religion. Why are we still on this?
It was a theoretical difference of opinion.
There was religion. There was religion in the Age of Legends. Let's get off of that topic and talk about something else.
No, how does that answer the question? Did they think that Rand was or Lews Therin was the savior of the world? That was my question.
Right. It was not a religion. It was people against progress.
Okay.
Who would you like to answer you, Dan?
Well, the question was for Elfwitch.
Yeah, I don't think Lews Therin was perceived as anything more than the first among the servants. I mean, that's how he became the first among the servants, was by his acts. That's why he had a third name. That's why he was able to become a leader. They respected his judgment. They respected his giving back to their society. And so they made him first among the Hall of the Servants. He was a man. He was a long-lived Aes Sedai, truly servant of all. I don't think he was seen as the representative. I don't know when he became the dragon. I don't know if maybe Jansen can answer that question. Because, of course, now we have the dragon being reborn, prophesied to be reborn in the Third Age. Was Lews Therin the dragon?
Well,
during the Second Age, or was he named that after when the breaking of the world happened?
After the breaking.
I mean,
when all the heroes come back, they call him Lews Therin. All the Forsaken call him Lews Therin, even though it's not. It seems like it's more his.
Yeah,
soul
but that's
that
more
they're
like
addressing
familiar.
So, why? But he doesn't look anything like him. So
good point.
And so if it's not a recycled Messiah, I agree with you. I don't think that he was a Messiah of that age.
He wasn't.
But suddenly he became the Messiah when he was the Dragon Reader.
No, that was Linny.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She was still alive back then. That's not commonly known.
She's actually Nakomi.
She's been garnering the future royalty for a long time, rearing their children.
Exactly.
So I do think it's interesting that in the Third Age, the Messiah reborn wasn't necessarily the Messiah of that last age at all.
There wasn't a need for a Messiah. There wasn't a need for a leader like that. The reason why things deteriorated to the point that they did in Randland is because knowledge and intellectualism was lost. Like the general, like even if you just look at our world right now, the real world over the last 150 years, the general knowledge of the common person weighed 150 years ago to today is very different. Where if we would have brought a cell phone back to 150 years ago, they would think it was a device from God.
Yeah, it's the gods makes you crazy.
Until your battery went out.
It's the Coke bottle. The gods makes you crazy.
But we understand that it's just science. So in the time of the Age of Legends, the idea of there being a being of all power that existed to create existence was an accepted idealism. It was an accepted truth that it happened.
People walking around that can throw fireballs, dude.
Well, it's not just that. It's not just that. It was they literally can step outside of existence and look at it. In the Age of Legends, they were able to put. They were able to put they were able to put things into stasis to never be touched by time. They were able to create weeds that burnt people, not just from life, like not just ended them breathing air and pumping blood, but literally burnt them out of time. Like that took a level of understanding of the material makeup of the universe that we can't even comprehend. Like we can't comprehend it in this conversation.
As a
because
follow-up
it's so
on that,
far.
Go ahead.
As a follow-up on that, when they did the bale firing of entire cities, they could detect that the aged lace was becoming more fragile.
Yes.
And so they knew, and they were able to look at it like
They
you said,
knew
from
they were letting
outside.
off nukes.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, totally.
To that end, why didn't Demodred or Ishmael just balefire, just keep balefiring?
Because they wanted something to
Like
rule.
Because they can't just. They know that if they rip it all apart, there's nothing left for them.
Dude,
either.
they would just be ruling the Minecraft world where everything's just blocks.
Yeah.
So,
Beth, Beth, if for your birthday I gave you a Streeth dress, would you wear it?
Probably not.
Really?
This to me is the worst invention ever.
I don't really love dresses. I don't really care to wear them.
What if there was a Streeth,
If it was like a
pantsuit?
Streeth blouse, maybe, then
I'm
possibly,
offended.
perhaps. Or
I'm
a
offended that you
Streeth
only
trench
asked
coat.
Beth.
A Streeth
Beth.
trench coat. That would be amazing.
Would you wear it?
That's so
Something
funny.
that tells people what you're feeling to me is it's a lose-lose.
It's a mood ring.
It's a mood ring on your
It's a
Yeah, but when one of your moods is like just hanging out, it's suddenly see-through.
Yeah, as long as I could wear something underneath.
So like I walk up, I'm like,
Oh, so
"Hey,
you'd be-
it's
oh,
good
okay.
to see you," and suddenly your fucking dress turns like kind of red. I'm like, oh, okay, well, cool.
I mean,
All
what
right.
does look good on me. I
Brother
mean,
Dan, actually, that's a very good segue into a question I want to ask the lady.
you got an axe?
I'm going to ask Brother Dan. Brother Dan, I'm asking the ladies.
Dan.
What do you think life would be like as a female in Age of Legends? And would you prefer it over what you're dealing with now?
I'll let Elf Witch go first.
Oh, thanks. I don't know.
That's
that it
why.
would be that
That's why
much
Beth's
different.
like, put Elfwitch on, so that Ryan,
Yeah.
when he asks his weird
No,
gender
you were
question,
going to be here. I'm
you
glad
can
you're
go
here,
first.
but I didn't know you were going to be here.
No,
Don't
that was the
do
last.
that.
That was just on me. That was on me. Oh yeah. Again, we
think
just
it'd be
keep
that much
interrupting.
different.
when Ryan gets into
First
weird
off,
female
let me just
questions,
say,
he's
like,
gonna-
Elfwitch had no idea. I just sent her a message and boom, she's on. Look
Guys,
how
everyone
great she,
clap for Elfwitch. I can't
yeah.
clap. Yay!
But look how great she. This is how great she looks all the time. She doesn't even have to like. Anytime you want to stream, she just
I
looks
get happy
great.
when you're on.
Ready to go.
Yeah. All right, go.
I like to be smiling online.
Do you remember the
Anyhow,
question, Elfwitch?
Yes. Is it
Okay.
much, how different would it be for a woman in the Age of Legends? I think it would be probably better than now. I'm not one of those unfortunate people who have been held back by my gender, as far as I know. So, but a lot of other ladies do get treated as lower quality or what have you in today's society, and I gotta believe it'd be more egalitarian, even more egalitarian, and around the world egalitarian. I mean, we have this in America where we're much more equal in terms of what men make money wise and different things, but there
Tell me more about this America.
Sounds
Western
wonderful.
society. Western society. But yeah, I think it would be even more egalitarian in my view. Beth, to you.
I think I would agree with you. I would like to think that I would be one of those people questioning why everything was so serene all the time. Not necessarily in the bad way, but in like, think about like Victorian or even like Edwardian England, right? Like women were not necessarily encouraged to be educated. And if they went out of their way to become free thinkers, there was a term for them and it had the word blue in it. And I cannot remember.
Stocking.
Thank you. They were considered blue stockings
Yes.
because they were seeking
Wow.
intellectualism, and they were considered very progressive, and it was a bad thing. I would rather be alive for the quality of life that the Age of Legends would have given you, but I like to think that I'm enough of a free thinker and enough of a individualist, so to speak. I don't know if that's the word I want to use, to question authority, not countermine authority, but to question why things are the way that they are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I would not be
I
happy
want-
with the status quo.
All,
so to
all I
speak.
want is a soapy bubble cloud. That's all I want.
Soapy bubble
Oh,
cloud.
yeah, that's-
Yeah.
yes.
Bubble cloud
Just
would be
bring it to
amazing.
me. Bring it to me.
Perfect analogy, because a woman seeking further knowledge popped a floating bubble and brought on the ruin of society. So,
Floating bubble cloud.
It was a woman and a man named by, right? Not just a
well,
woman.
it was a lot of people. There was a circle of people. It wasn't just Mirren. There was a whole circle.
And to that point, vitamin.
But it was
did
kind of her.
take
It was kind of
the
her.
Yeah, she led it. She led the circle.
Yeah. Just a quick Easter egg. The poor, unfortunate Aiel that Beth was talking about earlier that we saw in the Age of Legends, name was Charn. He was actually one of the kids, and he used to work for the lady Mirren, who ended up turning into Lanfear.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, I said that earlier, didn't I?
So
Didn't I
what's
say
really
he's on his
funny-
way to go and meet her?
Yeah, so
He
at
was on
one
his way there.
in the same room, being two people, watching his relatives and Luce Theron with his employer.
Right.
What was weird is the guy had no skills, but he was pretty charming.
Oh, jeez.
Well, he knew how to swing.
Okay. So I'm going to say that I'm going to have to duck here in about 5 minutes because I
what?
have another stream tonight.
Beth, you're
I'm
not allowed
going
to
get
leave.
ready for.
Well, yeah. Well,
And-
let's take this second and tell us what this stream's all about. Let's go, Beth.
Tom and I are getting nerdy, and we're going to co-op Baldur's Gate 3.
I'm so
Oh
excited.
my gosh.
I think
I
in the
hear the
last
game's
2
awesome.
days, in the last 2 days, this stream is the longest I've gone without playing it.
Wow. That
It
good?
is.
Good.
Oh my
Good.
God! It is. Chef's kiss.
Okay.
Like I can't even. I can't even.
Wow.
pronounce the word.
It's so good. It's so good that the gaming companies, the other gaming companies, are like, don't look at this game as the new standard in video gaming because
You're going to be sorely disappointed.
because it's not
Oh,
going to be.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, thanks, man.
Hold on. Can you please tell me what this game is?
Baldur's Gate
it's-
3. It's based on Dungeons and Dragons rules.
Is it on PlayStation 5?
It will be. It will be
Jansen
on
just-
September 6th.
We'll
It's
just write this
currently.
down.
It's currently only on PC, but it's coming to console September 6th. And if you have any of you guys ever read Forgotten Realms from Ari Salvatore
Mhm.
back in the early 90s? This is Baldur's Gate is a major city on the Sword Coast.
Mhm.
And that's where these video games take place, in the realm of R.A. Salvatore's Forgotten Realms, which is also a hub for the Dungeons and Dragons, classic D&D player base.
September, I will purchase this great.
Is it a module?
I will ask for your tutor.
It is amazing. Tom's going to be the person to tutelage you. I just like to press buttons, and yeah, but it's amazing. It's so good, and yes.
I actually had a question about and I don't know the answer to this. Did R.A. Salvatore come before Faerun, or did Faerun come before R.A. Salvatore? Like
No, that's a really good question because
did Gygax make it up? Like Gary Gygax?
Gygax was in
I
the
don't
70s,
know.
right? Like the late 70s, like 78-ish time period. Because I think
Gygax is
Gygax was the
another
person
move I
who
did
created-
in Street Fighter.
I thought he was
Gygax, I
Gygax.
had my
Yeah,
Yeah, that was like a really fast one where
No,
both your
left, right,
fists
left,
shot
right,
really
down.
quick, and you were like,
Yeah.
Gygax, Gygax. You know, like that's how that worked. Yeah.
Fucking there you go.
So Ed Greenwood is the creator of Forgotten Realms.
Okay.
And I think R.A. Salvatore is the person who commercialized it with the writing of Icewind Dale trilogy and then the prequel trilogies.
So
of,
he's like the John Scalzi of the Star Wars universe.
Is his name Salvatore?
yeah, R.A. Salvatore. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's amazing.
I just said
He also
Salvatore.
is the
When the moon hits
person
your eye, like a
who
big
one of the most underrated video games.
Alright, Salvatore.
If you guys want a great video game to play, that was just one of the worst. It was an excellent game, but it never got the press that it needed. Was Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning. It is so freaking amazing. It's been out for several years now. They just remastered it about 5 years ago, and Ari Salvatore wrote the video game. And oh my god, Chef's Kiss, it's so good. Anyway, sorry.
Awesome. Well, have fun. Beth and Tom, go knock it out. Jensen, can you hang for a couple more minutes, or do you got to go now?
For a couple more minutes, and then I got some work to do later.
Okay. All right. Because
I love you guys. This has been an
amazing
amazing conversation. We should talk about this has been great. Elfwitch, I'm so happy to see you, Joe.
Yeah.
Yay.
Best partner ever.
Bye, Beth. Love you, Beth.
All right.
Love
bye,
you guys. Go kill Baldur.
Go kill
We're
Baldur.
gonna hang out with his space hamster. Don't worry about it.
Go kill that Baldur.
Go kill Baldur.
Bye, Tom. Love you. Mwah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, that's a thing. Yeah.
Space hamster?
Oh.
Yeah, a little.
See,
If we're not talking like a Richard Gere scenario, right?
All right. So let's. Speaking of Richard Gere, I want to get a tiny bit into the idea of constructs. Right.
okay.
Nim were created in the Age of Legend.
Yes.
And I know that last week Ryan and I think Jansen, you guys talked about souls.
Yeah.
Time and stuff.
Mhm.
We have these beings that are constructed more or less for service, and I'm not going to get into the whole cast thing or whatnot. But the Nim are created. They have this strict panel that means that you can't really go past. Like the Nim is kind of pushing it because they're kind of half tree, half person, but it kind of has to be a tree. So they do the cola trees are constructs. But then Agenor goes and exploits that whole loophole as far as constructs go. But what do we feel about like constructs? Like the idea itself within the Age of Legends, is this genetically modified organism? Is this GMO? Are we talking about Monsanto?
I
certain degree.
think that people are going to disagree with me. I think they do. But what I think are that, the original Trolloc stock, I believe those were volunteer dark friends who gave up their souls to become Trollocs.
Really?
Makes
Like
sense.
just like they do for Greyman. I believe the original
Gray man.
Yeah, I believe the original stock for Trollocs were dark friends. And I also believe that being said, that I think that I believe the original stock for him were volunteer Aes Sedai from the light.
I got to start my heart. That killed me.
Okay.
No, I love that idea because we were talking about like how are we like let's not get into the whole like how many souls are there and like when you recycle and
I think that anything with sentience has to have a soul. And I think that the Golem, I think that all of the things that have sentience that were constructs were made with the one power, and I think they used volunteer souls.
wow.
Is there an Elfwitch? Do you think that there's an ethical dilemma with any of this? Well, go say what you were going to say. I'm sorry.
So, I was going to go back. I mean, since we're the topic is Age of Legends, I was just going to say something like the Chora trees and the Nim are the top of the technology of that day. Here today, we've got the internet, skyscrapers. These are the top technologies. These things wouldn't exist if they did not stand on the shoulders of all the previous technologies.
Okay.
And so those are the technologies of that day that made their lives possible. And so, constructs humans create. That's what we do. And so we would use the tools we have. They would use the magic they have. What we consider magic, to them, it was just their technology. And they use that to make their lives the best they could have it.
The Korra trees, though, I guess Chora. I do a hard CH.
Whichever.
Korra.
You always
to
do.
me, I mean, do they bear fruit? They're just ornamental, right? I mean, they're just
They provided
oak
everything.
trees or whatever,
They
right?
bear meaning.
Just like what we were talking about
Like an oak tree.
was mentioning how things were, done to make the population continue to be low, to continue to be, pacifistic, to continue to help. I think shore trees were invented for that same reason. Ooh. They helped keep, people calm. They help keep the population like stress-free. I think those were part of the things that helped do that.
Oh, don't tell me they are the opiate of the masses.
Exactly.
Could the IEL have been genetically engineered?
I love that from Mary Sue, because it takes
what
Jason was saying and puts it back in the Age of Legends.
Yep.
They could have been volunteers who were already serving, and they were made to serve better.
The Covenant.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that could be true, but nothing was done to them with the one power, I don't believe.
But how do you know the one power wasn't used to genetically engineer? This is their technology.
No, I mean that's how until they can disprove it, but I don't know.
Right, we don't know.
There's proof that says anything about that. That's what I'm. Like I'll snag anything that they give me.
Yeah, I mean, not that there's proof to or against that, but like from my memory, I feel like that's not. The genetic engineering of the IEL doesn't seem like that would be a thing. It seems like they were a people that they were like, this is our station in life and this is what we were doing.
There are also constructs with souls, I believe, were taken against their will. Now, those are the people that you are not allowed to have those playing pieces because they were real humans from the game that Ishmael loved to play.
Right.
Do you wait, Jansen, do you really feel like the first Trollocs were people that were just dark friends that were just like, yeah, I'm in?
I do. I think that either they were volunteered or taken by Agenor.
Okay.
The Forsaken were taking multitudes of people and just feeding them. Why wouldn't they start research? Absolutely. Agenor, I look at Agenor like Hitler's Dr. Death, like chopping heads off.
Yeah, I look at Agenor like the humans involved were like the Jewish people and like not their on their own volition.
I definitely believe that. But
so not dark friends. They were like, oh, what am I in this weird cage? And then they're gonna,
Yeah, maybe they weren't dark friends or dark friends that had failed in a task, something like that. But they were. I believe that they were originally people. I think
they were dark. They were dark.
Oh, they were absolutely people to begin with.
They were dark, unfriended.
But I think you're just talking about the original stock, the maybe hundreds
the original
did the initial experiments.
So you think
I feel like Agenor was like Dr. Frankensteining and just like pulling people into his room and be like, you don't know what you're here for, but hold on a second. Then he just passes them out.
This game is called Zara. It's Zara. And it says here it's a violent game from the Age of Legends. Samuel had a Zara board in his apartments in Ilion, found in a stasis box. The board projected a field of transparent boxes in the air and used once human playing pieces. It was a highly illegal game enjoyed by followers of the Great Lord. I mean, the Dark One. Yep.
So those are other constructs that, I think, would be awesome. And this
single once human playing piece. Once human playing piece, Elf Witch.
That needed to be in a
human playing piece.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It used to be human.
But it had to be in a stasis box to be usable. So
I think
alive in some way.
Is it just corpses that they put away?
Daniel, I think both things are true. I think Jansen's talking about the original stock, and then they just learned how to like maybe recreate him. But yeah, he was culpable for
I was talking more about
millions of deaths, right? He has
I was speaking more of like his original experimentations of like trying to figure out how to make a Trolloc. Like I don't think those people were like willing participants or dark friends that had done wrong. I think he just like grabbed a person off the street like a psychopath,
so how does
and
this
like
work?
combined them with a boar and was like, that's a guy.
All right, so he's like, all right, let's try a kid. That didn't work. Let's try a chicken kid.
Yes, and then eventually they all caught on and they're like, I think this crazy guy is making people into animal warriors. I don't know what's going on over here. Like that. I don't know what's going on.
Trucks.
A lot of missing persons cases. Like he went on tour.
So guys,
Narasu's got another great point. The fact that the game was banned implied that there was a time when it wasn't banned. You
It may
right.
have been banned from its inception. You don't know.
I want to ask you guys. So Robert Jordan wrote this in the time that he did, which we have advanced quite a bit in our technology, right? So his Age of Legends had hover wings, it had show cars, it had, but these are more or less.
Those are Joe cars.
Or Joe cars, yeah. What'd I say? Ho cars?
Show wings, hover cars, and show cars.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean the ho cars.
They're Joe cars. Give me credit where it's due, Dan. That's all I'm saying.
All right, Joe, how many ho cars have you been
we
in?
already had, right? I mean, he did
Just the one.
create a bunch of stuff, but let's say he knew about iPhones and AI and this stuff. What do you think that there's anything that he would have included as being Age of Legends with like these 25 years of advancement now that we have? You know what I mean?
No.
Well, I mean, he had teleportation, which we didn't have. So, we have instant communication by video, but he had teleportation where you could actually physically be there, not just on a Zoom.
So, if a kid was getting upset at school, could he just teleport home?
I bet, you know what? But to your point, Alfred, I bet you like video screens would have been more of a thing where just
Probably.
Because they're more of a thing now, so that's what I'm saying. What would have been adopted from now that would have been included in the glorious of Age of Legends?
Well, we know that elevators were.
Yeah, they call them lifts, I think. Yeah.
We know that. Glow bulbs, they had, which were light bulbs.
So they would have had Alexa, right? I mean, right?
For sure.
They would have, but it would have
Well,
been
that's what that Terangrial was, that you could, it had all the books in the world in the one thing. You could just be like, that's a...
Yeah.
Here's
that's what I'm talking about, Joe.
Over.
And what was the call box? What would the call box have been used for? The full box.
That's a good point.
Oh, see that.
Well, they had call boxes, but they called them what they called.
Beeper, page me.
Call boxes. The fool's box were bullshit pieces of metal that Samuel made. They were
that was him fucking with them. Yeah.
Those were just jokes. What was I about to say about the?
I think there would have been more hologram stuff. I think people would have just projected themselves while not being there in the present.
Maybe a little bit more like what Sanderson did with the gateways, Dan, kind of thing, like looking down on a battlefield, but it would be like, let's open a gateway and we can hang out and talk and eat dinner, but we're not in the same place.
We're not in the same place.
Our table is between the gateway, kind of thing.
Really important that we haven't talked about yet that they had back in the Age of Legends that we have power lines.
They didn't need power lines.
They had standing flows. They did have power
standing flows, so that people who didn't have the spark could use the power.
One power, which was like everyone using electricity. Things to power.
Yeah, they had these pyramids, and they were in Egypt, and there was water in them.
Do we assume that in the Age of Legends, the same percentage of population was able to channel?
No,
I think it had to have been more, right?
I just saw a discussion on this. It was like 3% of the population. Like 1% has the spark, and another 2% could be taught. And in the time at the end of the Third Age, it's a total of 1% because
that makes sense.
So
more so, but not that much.
No, remember what Rand says to Avienda in A Memory of Light right before he does the magic shower with her. He says,
"Hey,
what color was the shower?
Actually, is trending on Pornhub right now."
Yeah.
What color was the shower, Jansen?
Were trained at a very early age. He says that there were many, many more of us, and we were trained at an early age. He says that.
Yeah, but many, many more doesn't mean What else said Dana Lou? I think that tracks for me. 3% total to now it's 1% total. That makes sense to me. I feel like it was more, but not 20%. It wasn't exploding in the Age of Legends. I think it was just more. We've slowed down to a trickle. But there was certainly more back then, but not to an insane degree. 300% more for sure. What a Holocaust is right.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
But don't forget, percentages in Australia are crazy.
Yeah, no, they're all devilish.
That's true. Yeah.
So we also see that. So they had these means of transportation, but there's rumors that people could fly at this time, like fly.
I think that's a rumor, and I don't think it was ever proven that anyone could actually do it, other than the fact that they had show wings and hoverflies. But we do have a POV where I forget who it was who said that she saw an accepted try to fly to her death at the White Tower. And I forgot who said it. It was, I believe, either Viren or... No, it wasn't Viren. It was...
I want to say Anaya.
It was either or Swan talking to Nynaeve Saladar.
Okay.
Well, but this is after the breaking and all that. This is after the tower. This is off. We're talking Age of Legends. I mean, there are rumors that some people could fly.
Yeah,
Why wouldn't they be able to, though, by just projecting air? I mean, to a certain degree, it doesn't seem impossible if you're magic, man. You know.
But why would you have to fly if you can teleport?
Right, teleporting would be more convenient.
I mean, besides, climbing a mountain.
Well, I mean,
flying's awesome, though.
just big dick energy.
BDE.
There's also the possibility that flying came before they figured out how to like fold space and time and get to the next place. You know, like teleportation was a thing. You know, there's a possibility that someone learned to be like, oh, let me lift my body and move it from point A to B before I went, oh, wait a minute, I can just take point A and point B and put them together. You know, like that's...
Anybody now is going to learn to fly. We know the person who has an inkling on how is Yukiri. Because she saved Gareth Bryn and Swan by jumping out of the tent through the whole floor. And she told them, Yukiri told them that she might have the idea to fly this way.
Wow.
See.
All right, so Dana Lou's comment was, we never saw any of the Forsaken fly, and that is true. However, that doesn't mean they weren't flying in the Age of Legends. That just means they had gotten past flying and to teleportation. Again, to the point of like, I can go from A to B in 2 seconds. Why would I fly there? It takes an hour. You know, like kind of thing. Like that doesn't mean that they didn't have that.
Well,
it just means that they have long since left that behind.
But is skimming considered flying?
That's a good question.
The first
No, I think that was like same with traveling for Rand. It's a precursor to it's a longer version of teleportation.
We only saw 2 people fly in the whole series, and that was Hopper and Egwene, and they were both in Teleran Riyadh.
Hello, brother.
Hey,
Oh, not true. Kieran and Hesselem also flew, and so did Slayer. They flew too, but all in Teleran Riyadh.
Yeah, all in Teleran Riyadh. Yeah. So again, not. I have to say, I think it's possible. It's something they probably could have worked out and figured out and done. Do we have proof that they did it? Not necessarily. If they did do it, it was definitely a precursor to traveling or skimming. You know, like once they figured out how to do that, they're like, why would we do that? That's silly. Like, why fly from Camelin to Tyr when I could just teleport there? You know, like or Gateway there. You know, kind of thing.
For the regular population, they had the show wings.
Well, those were devices created to like travel, like regular people were traveling. You know, versus like.
Just do that to somebody's shoes and say, "Put these on, mate."
That's a good idea.
Good point.
Maybe that's it. There's just a bunch of Rocketeers shooting around.
This is where they promised us jetpacks come from. So
there's just a bunch of jetpacks. There's a bunch of Marty McFlys on hoverboards and a bunch of fucking Rocketeers just flying through the air. Yeah,
the first showing was built so that it could take some geese that lost their mother and teach them how to fly. All right, so let's talk a tiny bit more about things. We have something called the Tempo of Infinity, which That's my drummer persona.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Tempo of Infinity?
Oh
Yeah,
man,
that's my
Dan kept
My
us
time
short for that
signature. They're
joke.
like, "What time is that?" I'm all, "It's the Tempo of Infinity, baby."
Uh,
That's I don't know. That's a painting that seems to go on forever. That someone had a stasis box. Stasis boxes are weird. They're the coolest kind of.
Dan, is the
I thought
tempo?
we were doing a thing. Jansen, I know.
Is it one of those like mirrors within mirrors, and you just see it all going all down in like concentric circles?
The Tempo of Infinity.
Yeah. Is that what we're looking at? Okay.
with sick polyrhythms.
Okay.
Yeah, at the base of all like building blocks of life, it's
He's a
just a
base.
string vibrating on different levels, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A stasis
Very
box.
wow.
As soon
Have
as
you
you
ever
shut
thought about
it,
that, Elfwitch?
I mentioned last week that I think the Eye of the World is a stasis box.
I like
the
that.
Eye
idea.
of the World is a stasis box.
It very
I
much
agree with
it has to be.
Yeah.
It very much is.
And that's where, apparently a stasis box, it's like as soon as it shuts, it seems like it lifts immediately, like it just instantly opens again. But time could be millennia have passed, and you don't even know. It just
Well,
it's like my math. Boom, boom.
We have our time capsules that people bury in the ground and then dig up 20 or 100 years later. So we want this, and this is something.
Yeah,
that
and
we
those
have in
comic
our
books I
society.
put in there
Yeah.
are moldy now.
That's funny.
But we generally don't have.
And I was
living
very upset
things.
about it.
I only
Living
hide my
things that
drugs
we
from
put in
myself.
stasis boxes.
The golem that I buried though, he's fine.
Golem's like,
Yeah, he was fine. He was
Now,
fine.
you know, I do have
So
a
I mean,
theory
you know, it
on
just depends on what you put in there.
who was in a stasis box from the Age of Legends. I thought about who was the only character in all of Wheel of Time who could have actually, and with everything that's been written about everybody, who could have actually been a character from a stasis box. And I've come up with Old Cully.
You love O'Cully.
Yeah,
You
love
will-
old Cully, man. You're a old Cully stan.
he is the worst of the worst looking people in all of Wheel of Time, and yet he has more power than almost any other Dark Friend.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So
But is any magic about him, or he's just a dude?
No, he was just kept in a box for like 3,000 years.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
it
that-
makes
so-
sense.
Yeah.
I think both of them were both in the same box.
Hold on. So could
Yeah.
Nazarene have been in that box?
I think Old Cully put himself in the box with Old.
But Jansen, I am laughing.
O'Cully's playing the long game.
I
He's
truly
like,
love
he's like,
this
he's
idea.
like, hey, I'm gonna get in this box. I'll wake up 3,000 years later.
Yes.
Fuck all this drama.
I think
nobody
listen,
has time for that.
Jansen's logic makes complete sense. You have
I'm
all the
blown away.
Forsaken,
Yeah.
and then you have this dude that's a dark friend from 3,000 years ago.
He's all, I'll just hide in this.
He's like,
chest real
I'm
fast."
way higher than these dickheads that were just born 20 years ago. You know, like I'm way higher. I'm way higher than this guy. I don't care he's a king. You
Hey,
know,
when I say old Cully, I mean fucking old.
I'm fucking old.
I'm fucking old.
No, but he doesn't age. He's in a stasis.
I am.
He went in at
old. You know
36.
when my
He came
birthday
out at
was?
36.
No, I
My
think
birthday was in a different age.
not as Old
Fucking
Cully.
old.
Wait, what, Justin?
I think he went in as Old Cully and came out as
Yeah,
Old
he
Cully.
went into 80, Ryan. He came out 80. You know, when he went into the box, he was very low totem pole for like
And
for
old
dark
Cully's
friends.
like,
And then you know he gets out and he's still 80.
He can name drop all the old Forsaken.
Yeah, he's like, I know Mirren. We go way back, and they're like, Mirren. I mean, Landry. He's like, oh, we all know her as Mirren.
Creaky.
I'm old school.
Yeah,
we know her as Mirren.
People, they don't talk about him as much as I wish they did, but he was. There's no other Dark Friend besides a Forsaken that was higher than Old Cully.
I know. He's I love it.
Even my Mazrim Tame, he's higher.
He arrived around the same time.
But I feel like you're not like giving him
Old,
his like.
fucking old.
I feel like he's accomplished so much in his life, and you're trying to like take that away from him, Jansen. He did it in his 80 years. He didn't.
Jansen, he didn't need. What Ryan's trying to say is he didn't need a stasis box. He was just he's a badass on his own.
Joe,
Currently.
May you and I both have the blessings to one day be called Old Joe and Old Brother Dan.
I mean, for sure.
Brother Dan, I think we should rename Old Coley C Money.
Old Dan, I'll be Old Joe.
He's so amazing.
Hang out together.
Right.
Yeah, we'll hang out together. It'll be a good thing. It'll be a good thing.
All right. You know what? I'm changing my name right now.
All right, yeah. I say, hey, let's wrap this up. You gotta go. All right, Jansen.
For somebody.
All right. Well, you wanna pimp something? You wanna promote, or you just want to give big ups to your fellow?
Solidarity with all my fellow SAG members, and hoping we're going to get a deal soon so we can get back to work. And I can get back to doing what I love. But I'm so happy that I have something like this that I can fall back on.
Yes.
It's wonderful to be with you guys doing this, but I love it.
Yeah, we love you. We love having you, Jansen. Hey, go do what you got to do.
And you know what? My favorite thing is to talk about the books and to talk about the books with you. So I adore Sundays as well. I love you, Jansen. Keep up the good fight. We're here with you, man.
Right on, you guys. You guys take it easy.
Jansen, love you, buddy.
Bye.
All right. That's us. That's
all right. And here we go.
Tavern Talk, guys.
Hey, I mean, he can leave his sunglasses in my hotel room anytime. You know.
All right. Just a name dropper. Elfwitch, how are you doing? Do you have anything you want to promote before we end the stream? Do you want an Etsy account?
I sang a parody this morning and recorded it. I just got to put the video.
What?
And I was like, I have to get it out this week because it's related to our recent information. So if I wasn't here, I should have been working on that while this was going on.
You're like, this is ridiculous, but I'm going to go talk to these puppets.
Yeah, let me just edit some puppets for a minute.
Exactly. Instead of editing video, I'd much rather talk to puppets.
Well, can you bless us with what song you're parodying? If you don't want to, say no.
That's the whole thing. You'll get it if I.
Okay. Brother Dan. Yeah,
I know. I was just wondering if she wanted to.
One of the worst interview questions I've ever heard you say.
Are you kidding me?
Song from the '60s, I believe, late.
All right, that's hey, you know. You got more information.
Just a little taste, Elfwitch. That's all he wanted, a little taste.
Just a little taste. All right, Elfwitch, when it's live, can we promote it on our show? Could we play it live and give you props?
Absolutely. I'll put it on your Discord server so that you can grab it.
Let's do it. Yeah. Let's do it. All right, Joe, do you have anything as cool as that?
Yeah,
not remotely. I guess just watch TWACast. You know, I mean, come hang out and then watch the Leaf Boys after that show's over on Tuesday nights. You know,
it is kind of
normal
now,
stuff,
right?
Yeah,
we're like friends in Frasier.
Yeah, we're like absolutely. Right. Yeah. Wait, who's Friends and who's Seinfeld?
You're first, so you're friends, even though
we're a party of 5, Dan.
Tom's rarely there.
Dan, we're a party of 5.
We're party of 5, and you guys are.
The point is, if you like the Way of Belief, you'll obviously like TWACast. Just watch us before you watch them, and watch them. Have a fun night of awesome Wheel of Time content. You know,
9 times out of 10, I'm in the chat stirring things up.
Yeah, or you guys are on the show, which happens.
Or we're on the show. Yeah,
it does happen. All right, everyone.
There's Fantasy Jansen.
Yes, okay.
We're still going.
We're
still going.
All right, everyone, run for your lives. This is Way of the Leaf.
Bye, you sexies.
All right, everyone, go to Discord now if you want to see the sexiest of sexies. Wop wop.
Is it still on?
Shit.